I noticed this morning Bitcoin down 5.6%. I haven't got a clue why. I presume someone smarty pants out there will say it's because of some forced liquidation. It's because of some...
About Bitcoin and its effect on stocks. Bitcoin quoted this morning around $85,000 a coin, way down from its high. Now, is the decline in crypto also pushing a decline in stocks? Are they linked?
Investors in Bitcoin are reeling as the cryptocurrency's value dropped by hundreds of billions of dollars in recent weeks. The sell-off is part of a broader wipeout of more than $1 trillion across major digital assets.
De-dollarization, it started with the China bloc in Russia. I want to point out that the central banks now own 27% of their reserves are now in gold.
Time for Chart Attack, and we are talking money because money, money, money makes the world go round. Just ask the world's central bankers. And Guy Labat, the question to you is just how much money are these central bankers printing?
A lot.
You are watching Olives and Finance. We are simplifying finance for you. Right now, this number is $38 trillion.
And it's going up $50,000 every single second. That's America's national debt. Donald Trump says Bitcoin can help fix it. Today, we're going to explain the entire story step by step, like you're 12 years old so you actually understand it for the first time. What is the national debt and why it's connected to printing dollars? Imagine you're a kid with $10 pocket money every week, but you spend $15. You borrow $5 from someone and promise to pay it back later. That $5 you owe is equal to debt. America does the same thing, just with trillions instead of dollars. Where does the debt come from? Every year, the government collects taxes, about $5 trillion, but it spends $6 to $7 trillion on one: Social Security and Medicare for old people. 2, the military. 3, schools, roads, and science. 4, interest on old debt. That gap, the extra $1 to $2 trillion we spend, gets borrowed every single year. Who do we borrow from? Here are the 5 main groups. 1, American retirees and future retirees, almost half the debt. That's money already promised to grandmas and grandpas. 2, Japan owns about $1.2 trillion. They save a lot and lend it to us. 3, China owns about $800 billion, less than most people think now. 4, American banks, pension funds, and rich people, another big slice. They buy treasury bonds, super safe IOUs from the government. 5, the Federal Reserve, America's own bank, so about 20%. When nobody else wants to lend, it prints dollars and buys the bonds. Every year, U.S. citizens pay $1.1 trillion just in interest. That's more money than the entire defense budget. We literally pay more to say, sorry, we're late, than we pay to have the strongest army on Earth. The scariest part? The debt never goes down. It only gets bigger because the budget remains imbalanced. But here's the hidden problem. To keep borrowing, the government often asks the Federal Reserve to print more dollars. Think of it like this. When you can't pay back your $5, your dad, the Fed, makes 5 more dollar bills out of thin air and hands them over. Easy, right? Except too much printing makes every dollar worth less. That's inflation. Your candy bar that cost $1 now costs $1.05. And it keeps going up. How much did America print last year? In 2024, the total amount of dollars in the economy, called M2 money supply, grew by about $900 billion, from around $20.4 trillion to $21.3 trillion. That's like adding 900 billion extra dollar bills to everyone's pockets.
Time for Chart Attack, and we are talking money because money, money, money makes the world go round. Just ask the world's central bankers. And Guy Labat, the question to you is just how much money are these central bankers printing?
A lot. That's the short answer. So one of the things that we've been talking about over the course of the last 4 months or so, early 2013, has been the potential for the Federal Reserve maybe tapering purchases. But what we're missing is that we live in a global marketplace. And the Bank of Japan, just as the Fed is even considering this, is putting their accelerator to the floor. So in 2013, it's our expectation that global central bank intervention, total amount of cash in the global central bank printing, is going to be greater than any year over the last.
And look,
It sounds helpful, but it waters down the value of all the dollars already out there. And this is where de-dollarization comes in, a big word that means the world stopping to trust the dollar as much. Why is that happening? Because if America keeps printing too many dollars to pay its debts, other countries get worried. Hey, if there are suddenly way more dollars everywhere, our dollars won't buy as much stuff. So they start using other money instead, like Chinese yuan, euros, or even gold. Who's leading this? The BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and new friends like Saudi Arabia and Iran. In 2025, they've been trading more in their own currencies, up to 70% of deals between them instead of dollars. They're even building new payment systems and buying tons of gold, over 1,000 tons in 2024 alone, to store value without dollars. President Trump even threatened 100% tariffs on them if they keep this up. De-dollarization doesn't mean the dollar disappears tomorrow. It still rules 59% of world money reserves. But if it keeps slipping, borrowing gets harder and more expensive for America. That's why some people say we need something like Bitcoin, money that can't be printed endlessly.
Well, I think there's three factors driving it. One is de-dollarization, and it started with the China block in Russia. I want to point out that the central banks now own 27% of their reserves are now in gold. It exceeds U.S. Treasury. So the de-dollarization theme, been in place for 5+ years, continuing to drive gold. Then we can add in the debasement trade, which really started to gain steam with the government shutdown.
Regular dollars can be printed anytime the government wants, like copying more game tickets. Bitcoin is different. Only 21 million coins will ever exist. No one can print more, not even the strongest government. It's digital gold with a hard cap. Right now, one Bitcoin costs about $106,000. Over the last 10 years, its price has gone up more than 10,000%. That's why some people call it digital gold. It protects against too many dollars being printed and things like de-dollarization. But the total cap of Bitcoin is $1.81 trillion, and U.S. debt is $38 trillion. If the U.S. buys all the Bitcoins and it surges to $1.81 million each, then it'll be equal to the U.S. debt amount. U.S. President Donald Trump said during the interview that maybe we'll pay off our $35 trillion, hand them a little crypto check. We'll hand them a little Bitcoin and wipe out our $35 trillion. I'll write on a piece of paper, 35 trillion crypto, boom, we have no debt. What actually happened after he won? March
I'll have to ask my accountant about that.
6th, 2025. Trump signs executive order, creates the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. The U.S. government now owns 207,000 Bitcoins, all from criminals they caught. Worth about $22 billion today, there is a new law in Congress, the Bitcoin Act, that wants America to buy up to 1 million Bitcoins over the next 5 to 10 years. That would be almost 5% of all Bitcoin that will ever exist. And this ties right back to de-dollarization. Trump sees Bitcoin as America's way to fight back against BRICS and keep the dollar strong.
Bitcoin down 5.6%. I haven't got a clue why. I presume someone smarty pants out there will say it's because of some forced liquidation, it's because of so and so, so and so. But when an asset class can move so aggressively, and I haven't seen any decent copy, and I'm going to say this, on CNBC, on the FT, on Reuters, on Bloomberg, on every one of those major market sources out there, I've seen no one coming up with a conclusive idea of why a major asset is down 6%.
Let's assume the U.S. will acquire 1 million Bitcoins in the next 10 years. Even then, it needs each Bitcoin worth $3.8 million, if the debt remains constant, isn't it? Because the U.S. debt rose by 8.21% last year.
Thanks, Alice. Now I'll take it from here. Lots of smart people think this plan has big problems. One, China and Japan want normal dollars, not Bitcoin. They lent us in dollars, so we pay back in dollars. 2. Even if Bitcoin reaches $1 million one day, 1 million coins equals $1 trillion. That pays off only 1/38 of the debt. 3. Bitcoin's price can crash 50% in a month. Governments hate that kind of roller coaster, especially when printing dollars is already causing de-dollarization worries. So they can't acquire something more volatile than the US dollar itself. 4. Janet Yellen and many economists say, don't gamble taxpayer money on something this risky. Fix the budget instead.
Investors in Bitcoin are reeling as the cryptocurrency's value dropped by hundreds of billions of dollars in recent weeks. The sell-off is part of a broader wipeout of more than $1 trillion across major digital assets. But let's take a quick look at how Bitcoin has been performing. As you can see here, it tumbled from a high of $124,000 in early October to around $84,000 on Saturday, though it has gained some ground this week. But it's not the lowest Bitcoin has hit this year.
It's more like a very fancy band-aid on a problem that's still growing. So, can Bitcoin pay off the whole $38 trillion tomorrow? No, that's impossible, especially with de-dollarization making everything trickier. But can it help a little over the next 10 to 20 years? Yes, and here's exactly how. Step 1. America slowly buys or continues to accumulate Bitcoin, up to 1 million coins, as a hedge against printing too many dollars. Step 2. If Bitcoin keeps growing as it has, which is not guaranteed, that pile could be worth $1 to $2 trillion in the future, even if the dollar weakens due to de-dollarization. Step 3. The government can sell some of it to actually pay down real debt and fight back against BRICS-style shifts. Step 4. Just owning a big pile shows the world the US is thinking about the future. Other countries might trust more. Cost of borrowing decreases, even as printing continues. Most important thing, the United States government is now the biggest Bitcoin holder on the entire planet. That sentence would have sounded crazy 5 years ago. Today, it's just a fact, and it's partly a response to worries about de-dollarization from all that dollar printing. So, Trump spoke like a superhero, saying, "One coin to rule them all." Real life is slower, smaller, and less dramatic. But the direction has already started, especially to protect against the world moving away from the dollar. If the biggest government on earth is treating Bitcoin like digital gold to fight debt, printing, and de-dollarization, maybe it makes sense for normal people to own a tiny piece too. Maybe 1 to 5% of your savings as protection against too many dollars being printed. Like Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, said, Bitcoin can never become a currency but an asset class. He calls it digital gold. What digital gold means here is these digital assets have the quality of keeping their value even if there is an economic shock. Gold is an asset class that can bear any bad economic weather.